All right, commissioners, members of the public, I'm going to convene our meeting. I'm going to conduct roll call. Commissioner Andrades.
Present.
Commissioners will be reminded to turn on their mic when speaking. Thank you, Commissioner Andrades. Commissioner Field.
Present.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Present.
Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Lewis. Commissioner Mack.
Present.
Commissioner Mesa is present. Commissioner Murray is absent today. Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
Commissioner Stein.
Present.
Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Yap.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Commissioners, I am going to do ex parte communication. So commissioners and members of the public, I will read from our motion so that everyone's on the same page. An ex parte communication is a communication between any member of the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission and any elected city officer or member of any elected city officer's staff regarding a matter pending before the commission. An ex parte communication does not include any communication that takes place on the record during an official public meeting. The requirements of this section do not apply to a communication between a commission member and a member of the city attorney's office providing legal counsel. A commissioner shall disclose any ex parte communication at the next commission meeting following the communication. Any off-the-record communications that take place during an official public meeting shall be disclosed before the adjournment of the meeting. Disclosure shall include the time and date of the communication, the form of the communication, the approximate duration of the communication, if applicable, the identity of the persons who participated in the communication, and a summary of the content of the communication. The summary shall include a general description of the types of charter reforms communicated. Commission members or commission staff may ask a commission member to resubmit communication disclosures that are not sufficiently detailed. The Charter Reform Commission staff shall maintain a public database on the Charter Reform Commission website where a log of ex parte communications can be found. The charter staff shall update this log within 72 hours of an ex parte communication disclosure. Failure to comply with the requirement of this section shall subject the commission member to potential censure by the commission, and the commission may resolve to recommend the appropriate appointing authority initiate removal of the commission member. A violation of this section shall not render any action of the commission or commission member invalid. Commissioners, I will go around the dais to ask if there are any ex parte disclosure, any ex parte communication disclosures that you wish to announce that have taken place since our last meeting. Commissioner Andrades.
None.
Commissioner Mack.
None.
Commissioner Field.
None.
Commissioner Stein.
None.
Commissioner Mesa has none. Commissioner Sanchez.
None.
Commissioner Yap.
None.
Commissioner Fuentes.
None.
Thank you, commissioners. Before we move to public comment, we have, I believe, at least two elected officials or representatives of elected officials that would like to address the commission. I would like to welcome the Los Angeles City Controller, Mr. Mejia. Mr. Mejia, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank the commissioners for all of your hard work. The Controller's Office sent our original 6 recommendations to the Commission back in August 2025. They are intended to strengthen the independence of the city's watchdog and put the city on the right fiscal path. I want to speak specifically on the proposal to create a new Chief Financial Officer position. I was shocked yesterday to discover the CFO option that would consolidate many of my office's functions under a newly created CFO under the mayor and council. I urge you to reject any proposal that directly or indirectly takes away any of the controller's duties and responsibilities. The city of LA's finances are a mess, and the status quo is broken. The status quo of how the city handles its finances is done through the CAO, the mayor, and the city council. Creating a CFO and placing that position under the mayor and city council would just be doubling down on that same broken status quo. The purpose of establishing a CFO is just not consolidating a list of roles and responsibilities, but it's to create a position that will also provide a long-term strategic vision for the city's finances and ensure that the city can financially head in the right direction. Our track record of doing the job already, providing sound, prudent, and complete financial analysis and reports, actionable recommendations, and issuing timely warnings to the city stakeholders and to the public prove that we are the correct office to house that CFO position. I'd also like to touch on some of our other recommendations that we've provided. One of our recommendations that isn't on the agenda today is giving us the ability to hire outside counsel. Bifurcating the city attorney's office does not address the controller's office's need for legal autonomy. For example, when we tried to investigate a contractor, the city attorney refused to defend us. If that contractor is favored or if it's used in another elected official's city program, it puts the city attorney in a difficult position to defend us. That is why at the time, we pleaded for outside counsel and why we still believe we need to hire outside counsel when necessary, when there is a conflict, just like the Ethics Commission has their own outside counsel. We're also asking to clarify our authority to conduct performance audits of programs under elected officials. We're not interested in auditing the office or the person that is in the elected office, but the city programs that cost hundreds of millions of dollars and use city departments. As Chair Erwin Chemerinsky told you, this is what the 1999 charter reform intended, but it's never been put into practice. Alternatively, you can make it so in the charter that no city programs can be under an elected official. As you vote today on the controller's powers, please think about the state of the city right now. Is it working for you in Los Angeles? You have a choice to perpetuate the status quo or build a financially healthy future that better serves the 4 million LA residents. Thank you.
I believe there is one more representative from an elected official's office that would like to address the commission. Thank you. If you could introduce yourself, what office you are from, and you will have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Liam Renate Colwell, and I serve as Legislative Deputy for Councilmember Nithya Raman. I'm here to share a letter on the council member's behalf. Honorable members of the Charter Reform Commission, I write to share my opposition to any proposal undermining key authorities of the Los Angeles City Controller. The Controller serves a critical function as the city's watchdog, providing fiscal analysis, advice, and accountability to improve Los Angeles's financial health. In particular, as chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee, I've utilized key findings from the Controller's audits to help inform the City Council's policymaking, including efforts to bring more oversight to the city's investments into regional homelessness response. Taking fundamental duties away from the independently elected Controller's office would severely reduce accountability at City Hall. Angelenos deserve clear-eyed fiscal transparency into their government that is enhanced through this charter reform process, not gutted. Thank you for your consideration. Our office welcomes further discussion of the matter, and we invite you to reach out with any questions. Thank you.
One second before we go to our next representative. Commissioners and members of the public, a number of documents were circulated to commission members, which will be posted online shortly for the public as well. Commissioners, a motion was circulated in regards to the chief financial officer and inaccurately states that I am the mover of the motion. The motion is being moved by Commissioner Stein. I will make my opinions on the CFO clear when we get to that item on the agenda. All right, wanted to make that note for everyone. If you could approach, please. If you could announce your name, the office that you're representing, and you will have up to 5 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name
And
is
if you could speak closer into the mic, please.
Hi. My name is Lyric Kelker, and I'm the Legislative Director for Councilmember Anesis Hernandez. She is the council member for the 1st District. I'm here to speak on behalf of the council member and share her support for the authorities of the controller. I have just provided the staff a joint letter from my office and the office of Councilmember Soto Martinez supporting the autonomy and work of the controller's office. The purpose of this elected official is to hold us to good governance, transparency, and oversight, and especially the department's elected officials and the elected officials who are accountable to the people of the city. You'll find in the letter that the two council members believe that we must provide the following in proposed charter updates and changes. Provide the controller with an independent budget as a percentage of the general fund on an annual basis. The controller must be provided with a minimum budget each year to both better instill trust in government with the general public, but also allow for the deployment of resources needed to effectively run his independently elected office. Clarify that the controller's audit authority includes performance audits of all city programs. Performance audits must encompass programs that are sourced from or use city tax dollars, including those within elected offices. In order to ensure that the public knows that their tax dollars are being used in an efficient and effective manner, the controller's office must be able to audit every program in the city. Allow the controller to hire outside counsel. The independence of the controller and their staff relies on the ability to seek legal counsel without having to consider political impacts. Allowing the controller to hire outside counsel can insulate their auditing and accountability practices from City Hall politics. Next, enshrine the controller's fraud, waste, and abuse unit. The core function of the controller's office is to make sure that taxpayer dollars are not being wasted. This unit is integral to ensuring there is transparency and accountability for how dollars are used by the city. Appropriate funding and personnel are the baseline requirement that must be contemplated and provided in the charter. Over the last year, we have seen how the federal government has systematically taken away measures and how their appointed officials have fully depleted the integrity of federal systems. We must ensure that the city does not have the structure that allows for similar actions at the local level. An elected auditor of taxpayer dollars is indisputably more accountable to the residents of Los Angeles than an appointed official could be. Please, I urge you to take these recommendations into consideration and maintain the controller as an independent elected official. Thank you so much.
Are there any other representatives of elected officials that would like to address the commission? All right, seeing none, we will shortly move to public comment. As a reminder, this commission will allocate 1 hour for public comment at each meeting. We will begin with 30 minutes of in-person comment, followed by remote public comment. If time remains, we will return to in-person comment. Is there anyone who wishes to provide public comment that has not signed up on the list yet? All right, I will.
One gentleman.
I see one person. Okay. Yeah. All right, members of the public, we have over 45 people who would wish to address the commission. What we will do is we will do 1 minute of item public comment at the beginning of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, we will reopen public comment for in-person public comment and virtual public comment for an additional minute. I'm going to hand it over to the executive director to administer public comment. Oh, we will get. I would like to note for the record that Commissioner Lewis has joined us and Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Lewis, do you have any ex parte disclosures to announce since our last meeting?
None.
Commissioner Levine?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call 3 names at a time. Please queue up, and it's going to be a minute. I won't give any warning. I'll just say thank you next. Lauren, Mike Acevedo, and then James Aguilar. Lauren, Mike Acevedo, James Aguilar, please come on down. Queue up. All righty, and go.
Hi, my name is Lauren Brown. My daughter and son-in-law have lived here for 19 years. I'm a retired teacher of 36 years with a master's education. I share that to let you know that I am an educated person. Upon moving here 18 months ago, I took it upon myself to learn about how my city government works. attending meetings with the mayor, city council, and even the police commissioner. The most refreshing thing I have found has come out of our city controller's office with the transparency and accountability of our tax dollars. This is especially important to me because with this move, my tax dollars are 2.5 times what they were where I lived before. This is a huge hit to take on a retiree's pension. That means every dollar spent is super critical to me. It would be detrimental to divest the citizens from oversight by the city controller and instead turn it over to the mayor's office and city council. It removes our system of checks and balances, which we've seen happening on a national government level. Please leave this office alone. And for anyone out there listening, let's vote our current city controller back into office. I have more specifics.
Thank you. Next.
But 1 minute doesn't.
Thank
matter
you.
much.
Perfect. Mike, begin.
Members of the Charter Reform Committee, my name is Mike Acevedo. I'm a constituent out of Studio City. As a millennial, government has largely shown little interest in my generation. I feel so strongly about what I'm about to say that I actually put pen to paper instead of fiddling with technology. Our controller, Kenneth, has restored my faith in government and shown how it can help people. He's an authentic and transparent politician. These are attributes that Americans across the country now demand. In a time of Epstein files and using fraud as justification for invading sanctuary cities, resulting in the deaths of Keith Porter here, Renee Good, and Alex Preddy in Minnesota, I cannot fathom how we would even consider taking an independent oversight role and sliding it under the legislative and executive branches of the city. It reeks of corruption, especially when our controller has already found fraud. I urge you to focus on transparency and accountability instead of removing this position in favor of a CFO. Empower the controller's office and follow their 6 recommendations. I also support ranked choice voting as you.
Thank you. Next, James. After James is Raymond. The more people clap, the less time we'll have for individual speakers. Raymond, Billen, and Lionel. Raymond, Billen, and Lionel after James. James, go.
Hi, my name is James Aguilar, and I'm a current resident of Filipino Town. I'm here to support the charter reforms to strengthen the city controller, which are independent budget, require minimum qualifications, full audit, the ability to hire outside counsel, designating the controller of the city's chief financial officer, and permitting and permanent protection of the fraud, waste, and abuse unit. We've already seen what oversight can look like under Kenneth Mejia. The controller's office has shown so much good. It can do so much. It could do good and has the tools to operate independently. These reforms build on the progress and ensure it continues. This is about trust, transparency, and making sure our tax dollars are working for the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raymond.
Yes. Yes, my name is Raymond. I fully support the LA City Controller. He actually does wonderful work all throughout the city of LA. We definitely need independent audit. And also, we want the LA City Council Commission to work with Lease so they commit a Freeman Bureau. And this message to James Thomas, you should be a disgrace to Thomas because you're the only representative of our community. You actually a sellout to our people in our community. And you should be voted out. You're a disgrace to the Black community. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much. Billen?
Billion Godson, Africa Town Coalition. I'm running for Assembly District 55. I too initially came because of the comments made by James Thomas last week that a Freedmen Agency reparations would benefit all of us. That's problematic considering funding programs have been made to specific groups of people without a problem. But when it comes to us, there's a problem. Right now, we got Black folks dying in the streets from Skid Row to Crenshaw. The Black population in LA and the city, the county, the state is being erased. But I, too, am also here today in support of Kenneth Mejia, the only hero in elected office in this city who has been transparent. He stayed true to his commitment to the people, and a vote to bring in a CFO we know would be an effort to neutralize his office and continue the corruption in this city. Stand behind Kenneth Mejia.
Thank you so much. After Lionel is Eric, Katie, and Eddie. Eric, Katie, and Eddie. Lionel.
Yeah, dear Charter Commission, my name is Lionel Myers. I'm here and speak in favor of the public advocate, similar to New York's and Los Angeles, could lead to more progressive governance, enhanced community engagement, and significantly better representation of the diverse population's interests. I also support expanding city council and implementing ranked choice voting including both single winner RCV and proportional RCV. They reduce vote splitting, encourage coalition building, reduce the cost of elections, and make sure elections reflect how people actually vote. I support the city controller's right to perform audits of all city departments, including those of other elected officials, whether they like it or not. I also oppose granting the mayor more authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
My name is Eric, a Mid-City resident here to urge you not to abolish the city controller's position. At the State of the Union, Donald Trump announced what he called the war on fraud, which he said includes what they've done to Minnesota. And he said, California is far worse. I'm a photographer who's been documenting LA's response to ICE since June. It never stopped, as we all know, but in order to face what's surely coming, what will definitely escalate, we need oversight of the city to come from an independent office like the city controller. As they've proven with their response to LAPD's complicity with ICE, the city council and the mayor's office cannot be trusted to give Angelenos an accurate understanding of how things work in this city. To be clear, the way things work right now is the LAPD gets what they want, which you all seem to know as you wouldn't take up the topic of police reform. Leave the city controller's office alone or else City Hall will lose whatever little shred of credibility it currently maintains. If you get rid of it, you'll be abandoning Angelenos just as the fascists in Washington turn their eye back toward stamping out dissent in California.
Thank you so much. Katie?
Disempowering the controller's position silences the people because we elect the controller and the CFO position would be appointed by the mayor and the city council. The people are supposed to have a voice in our government and how our money is spent. We elect people for mayor and city council because they say they're going to do specific things with our money, like solve the unhoused crisis, make the city affordable, reallocate police funds into various other forms of community safety, not just police officers with guns. And if those elected officials do not spend the money the way that they said that they would, the only way for us to know about that is the controller's office. The controller's office is there to be an independent check on the city's finances, on how our tax dollars are spent, and to provide transparency. The controller has done that so effectively that he's scaring the shit out of somebody up there. And they have provided transparency that is showing exactly what the mayor and this council is doing, using our tax funds to fund the special interests that profit off defunding our communities, interests that profit by keeping the most vulnerable in the city in cycles of poverty, then criminalizing that poverty and funding more police to police that.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
By billionaires
Eddie,
and those special interests.
after
they vote on
Eddie
behalf of us.
is Eden,
Fuck you.
Michael, and Johan. Eden, Michael, and Johan after Eddie. Eddie, go.
Hi, so she brought up something important. Who is afraid of this office? Who submitted this ordinance or whatever it's called? Who did it? There's already been a vote and we don't want this. We don't want this. Last night, Mayor Bass said in a Zoom meeting at Hangout Do Good, she said, the controller shouldn't be allowed to audit her or any other elected official unless it's an appointed office rather than an elected one. I almost couldn't, then the person that commented said, I almost couldn't believe that. So the mayor is supporting this. Who wants this? The people don't, because once again, an elected controller works for the people. An appointed CSFO works for the mayor and the city council. So who is this for? So ask each other, who is this benefiting when you vote for this?
Thank you so much, Michael.
My name is Eden Evans, and I'm a resident of Council District 14. The creation of a CFO under the terms outlined would essentially redirect the oversight powers of an independently elected position, the city controller, to a position controlled by the city council and mayor, effectively siphoning away what little fiscal accountability power that the people of Los Angeles have. The constituents of our district have seen nothing but financial abuse and scandal in relation to the city council over the last 2 terms, especially from the actions of Kevin De Leon and Jose Huizar, which I am sure we are all familiar with. Now you want us to entrust a city council with a track record of corruption and a mayor who refuses to be audited for her failed housing program with increased powers of financial oversight. In a time when we're seeing the devastating effects of increased authoritarian power grabs at the federal level, it is truly disappointing to see my local government try to take a page out of that playbook. Now, more than ever, we need an independent accountability measure that the city controller office provides. I urge the commission to oppose any direct or indirect proposals that will take away from the controller's current duties.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Howdy, friends. I'm here to remind you why ranked choice voting, and specifically proportional ranked choice voting with multi-seat districts, should be among the options you present to City Council in your recommendations. Ranked choice voting ensures winners earn broad majority support in a single high turnout election, strengthening democratic legitimacy. It encourages voters to vote their conscience without fear of wasting their vote. It changes campaign incentives, rewarding coalition building over mudslinging. It increases demographic and ideological diversity among candidates. Paired with multi-seat districts using proportional RCV, as in the 9-district, 27-seat model, multiple communities can win representation within the same district. Winner-take-all distortions are reduced, and gerrymandering becomes far more difficult. If the goal of this commission is to strengthen democratic legitimacy, then RCV and PRCV will broaden representation, reduce structural distortions, and build greater public trust in city government. Remember, if adopted, the first RCV election won't happen until 2032 and won't affect.
Thank you so much. Johan
Thanks so much. Be well.
is next.
For the minutes, I'm going to note that Commissioner Thomas has joined us. Commissioner Thomas, do you have any ex parte disclosures to announce? Thank you.
Okay, after Johan is Aaliyah, Cree, and Zach. Aaliyah, Cree, and Zach after you're on. Johan, go.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much. My name is Johan. Thank you so much for supporting single winner RCV during the ad hoc recommendations for item 1. I'm here for also advocate to support proportional ranked choice voting in item 2G. Just so the city council can have options to choose from. We think these are different options that are great, and since they're going to ultimately end up being the decision makers, hopefully please support both of them to get passed forward to the city council. Also, I know I've given this compare and contrast sheet. I'm going to give it to you all again, but also with the timeline. Like Michael said, the first RCV election won't happen to 2032. It won't affect any of the city council members, and it gives 4 years of education for the public. New York had 2. And they've had a successful run with their ranked choice voting, as well as a summary data sheet of what the seats could look like in single-member districts and multi-member districts. Again, these are simulations.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Levin, and I'm a downtown Los Angeles resident, and I'm a federal public servant and a labor union supporter. Give us a government we can trust, keep and support the controller.
Thank you so much, Cree.
Hello, Cree. Hi, I'm a Screen Actors Guild member. And I'm just taking my time, but it sucks. My son was abused and it was overlooked. And they thought it was a scene from a movie and it was real. And it was annoying as hell trying to get help. Going to the school system, they should have cameras on the school system. Every school system should have a camera. Every parent should have a camera, be able to see their child at school when they're at work so their child can feel safe. And if there's a problem, they can talk to the teacher right away since we always have to work. I almost swore. But it's annoying. It's annoying for our children to be abused physically and mentally. It hurts. I've been abused. My son's been abused. I don't know how many other people here have been abused. I'm speaking so stupid loud right now because I'm frustrated as hell.
Thank you so much.
It's my time.
Right, thank you. Zach, after Zach is Tim, Amos, and Ernesto. Tim, Amos, and Ernesto. Zach, go.
Honorable Commissioners, my name is Zach Sokoloff, candidate for Los Angeles City Controller. This may be one of the only times you hear myself and the incumbent agree with one another, but we need to preserve the independence of the Controller's office. We know that this office can work because we've seen it work in other cities, in New York, in Detroit, and even in the city of San Francisco, where there's the office of the city economist in the Controller's office that provides independent economic analysis. And we've seen it work here in Los Angeles with Rick Tuttle and Laura Chick, examples of controllers who have maintained independence and who have worked in partnership with the city to deliver results. Please do not eviscerate the Controller's office because of the current occupant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amos.
That's Amos behind me.
Amos?
You said,
Oh, sorry, Tim, go.
hi, I'm Tim Riley, and I'm a small business owner in District 1. I had something written up, but I'm going to talk to you like I talk to hundreds of people in my coffee shop every week. Kenneth has been the only form of government that we have felt has represented us as a people. The perception of local government is at an all-time low, and it is for things like this. Trying to eliminate the controller's office is not something that any of us want. None of us want this. So please represent us, because we want to see where our tax dollars are going for once. We want to see representation through government for once. Please just represent your people and leave Kenneth's office alone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amos Marvel, and I'm representing myself as an individual. It has been said that if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. This is a once in a generation opportunity to fix what's broken, and if residents don't see results, then reform has failed. Therefore, I am here at the table today because failure is not an option. The proposal to remove the fraud, waste, and abuse powers from the city controller to another department that reports to the mayor, and a department that is not even required to have financial or accounting experience, would be like having the fox guarding the hen house. This cannot be supported. Instead, we are demanding that the controller, who we elected, maintain all of their current responsibilities as our city's watchdog and to maintain their independence. Furthermore, the controller should be enshrined in the charter as the city CFO. Anything less than that on this particular topic will
Thank
be
you,
a
Tim.
failure.
Next is Ernesto. After Ernesto is Constance, Gordon, Tiffany, and Ross. Tiffany and Ross. Ernesto, go.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Ernesto Gonzalez. I'm a college student and small business owner here in downtown LA. I've come here to speak to you all because I believe firmly in Mr. Mejia's ability to keep Los Angeles transparent and accountable. I believe that any attempt to deconstruct his abilities as the controller hands a weapon to those in Washington and to those who seek to hurt Los Angeles and to show them that we are indeed those who can lead and show what real transparency and accountability truly looks like. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. 1 minute, go.
Hello, my name is Constant Gordon, a resident of Los Angeles in District 13, and I just wanted to take a moment to add my voice to the seemingly unanimous choir of people supporting not just the current, not just the current controller, but the sustaining the office as it is and expanding it along the 6 recommendations made back in August by our controller and restated today. It seems like it's a moment that enshrining independence and democracy is more important than ever. And this seems like a perfect example to do that. Also just lending my voice to the advocacy for ranked choice voting, especially for citywide offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Next, come on down, go.
Good evening. My name is Tiffany. My public speaking usually is in food and beverage, so I'm going to read this email. I'm quite nervous. I'm here to support the Office of the Controller. In a time when the federal administration is chipping away at the dignity of our country for the highest bidder, Los Angeles should do better than to follow suit. Our friends on the East Coast are making leagues with progress with their mayor. San Diego County invites their citizens to have a say in the budget process. LA should be an example, and this is a bad business decision for the citizens. I would also like to note that this is particularly concerning, that the proposal is in order to concentrate and privatize the role in light of the lawsuit opened by the former chief of LAFD, Kristen Crowley. And I will tell you that I do not know my current district because I was formerly unhoused until just a few weeks ago, I'm sorry. And so this hits really deeply for me. And I would like you to vote in support of the controller. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ross.
Good afternoon,
Sorry,
Commissioners.
after Ross is going to be Amy, Rob, and Mike. Amy, Rob, and Mike. Ross, go.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ross Weisschoffer, speaking as an individual. And the outcome of this meeting will make headlines. City Council expansion is coming 6 years from now. How do we get voters excited about that? Creating a public advocate who can enter office as early as 2028 would show a commitment to making change happen now, because expansion is not enough. Last August, council expansion supporter Nithya Raman told you in Encino, quote, "If you do not pair council expansion with changes in oversight, it will only deepen the problem of governance accountability. We need, as she said, a really strong public auditor who can be out there fighting for the people, holding the city accountable, like our city controller, for fiscal issues and a public advocate for public service issues, with offices that, like New York, are independent and complementary. And a public advocate also sounds like a great person to call. If, for instance, you are a hungry volunteer commissioner, let's make sure they get the food and service they deserve.
Thank you so much.
We need a public advocate. Thank you.
Amy. Go.
I strongly support today's motion for the public advocate, but I am concerned about the incorrect information on the memo. The public advocate would not replace the audit, fraud, and waste functionalities of the controller. The public advocate is a position that complements the controller. As a reminder, the public advocate is a non-voting member of council who can second motions, bring motions to the floor, and is someone who can't be retaliated against by the council president. Even though multiple people brought it up, this commission did not handle mayoral vacancies on Tuesday. A public advocate would handle this and would be the best option, would handle this. And the best option would be to crest an elected office of the public advocate who would be first in line. Ignoring the mayoral vacancy is problematic because we had this exact scenario when Eric Garcetti vacated the office, and it was almost a serious charter problem. The public advocate also acts as a second point of contact for constituents to turn to for the delivery of services of all departments. Also, be the commissioners. These meetings tend to go late. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Rob Kwan, I want to address the flagrant error that we have once again in a staff memo regarding the public advocate and alleged impacts to the city controller's waste, fraud, and abuse unit.
Could you speak a little more directly into the mic? Thank you.
There have been multiple requests over the last month from people in the public, commissioners asking for this to be fixed, and it has not. And once again, we see it. The joke around here has been that people think the staff reports are being created using ChatGPT. After looking into that, I think that actually might be true. I believe staff used artificial intelligence to do their research, and AI accidentally conflated the New York public advocate with a ballot measure sought to establish a public advocate in San Francisco. That measure narrowly failed, in part due to deeply misleading ballot campaign language that made the same exact misleading arguments the staff report includes pretty much word for word. The San Francisco controller, who was appointed by the mayor, opposed this because they didn't want to have somebody else have the power to appoint somebody to manage a hotline. It did nothing to do with—
Thank you so much, Mike.
Be the commissioner.
Thank you so much, Mike. After Mike is Nick, Alex, and Marlene. Nick, Alex, Marlene, come on down. Mike, go.
So moving to single seat ranked choice voting would be a massive improvement on what LA has today. But the reason why your report to the council should also include multi-seat proportional ranked choice voting is the thing that single seat RCV will not answer is the conflict about why you're here in the first place from the Fed tapes. And that is the limited representation from single seat winner take all elections. So you would help the public dialogue in LA if you include in some form PRCV. The other thing I want to add about single seat RCV, which I haven't said in previous meetings, is it sends a better policy direction to the ultimate winner, because if you have a lot of candidates running, you can see where the transfers came from and see the supporters of different issues that ultimately consolidated on the winner. That's better for the democracy and the ultimate office holder. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Hello, commissioners. There's 4 decisions today that will make a fundamental impact on the trajectory of our city, not just for our ability to have the public's trust, but to effectively govern so that we can have a future that's brighter than it is today. That is powering up the city controller to have the ability to audit anything they necessarily need to, expanding city council so that actual neighborhood specialists can represent their neighborhood. And if more than 23 is needed for that, then so be it. Being able to have a public advocate and also have ranked choice voting. Part of the reason that we are here today, or perhaps the only reason, is a lack of public accountability and the feeling that things are being done in the shadows, that people have no idea and no recourse. It's not the things that happen in the news that affect you, it's the stuff that happens behind closed doors. And by having multiple points, an inspector general, a public advocate, a powered up city controller, as ways to see what's going on behind closed doors, that gives you broader public consent to change things and make actual decisions that will give us more housing, give us more park space, allow people in this audience to have a shot to sit where you sit one day. Not just that, but
thank you. Next
would be
Alex.
to do that.
Alex.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Alex, and I'm a resident of the greater LA area. I wanted to thank you all for recommending ranked choice voting, and I would like to encourage you all to also take up item 2G on the agenda, proportional ranked choice voting. I'm also a fan of the city controller improvements and reforms, as well as police reforms, even though I know that's not in this meeting. I wanted to also just kind of follow up on one note from Mr. Kiefer's presentation a couple weeks back, and just kind of reiterate that, like, a lot of these, just in my opinion, a lot of these reforms will take a lot of time to take action to make meaningful changes, but you can kind of see that the need for change is now, it is current. I agree with a lot of his ideas about like having a future better funded charter reform commission, and that's a great time to iterate on these changes, and therefore let's push things through now and then improve on them.
Thank you so much, Marlene. After Marlene is Heath, Ray, and Jared. Heath, Ray, Jared after Marlene. Cue on up. Marlene, go.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Marlene Fonseca. I'm a lifelong constituent of the City of LA, as well as the Executive Director of EAA Union, representing thousands of professionals across the city, including the majority of the employees at the City Controller's Office. I am speaking on behalf of both. I'm here today to express strong objection to the proposal to create a Chief Financial Officer position that would assume core duties currently performed by the City Controller, the independently elected City Controller. The Controller's independence is a safeguard. It ensures that the city's financial oversight, auditing, and reporting functions are accountable directly to us, the public, not to any single elected official. That independence provides a critical check and balance that protects transparency, strengthens public trust, which we're finally starting to see a little of, and promotes fiscal responsibility, which we all can agree is needed right now. We must protect the system that was designed to serve the public's interest. Us Los Angeles voters, we deliberately.
Thank you so much, Heath.
The independent oversight.
Thank
I
you,
urge you to throw
Heath.
this CFO proposal.
Thank you so
out
much,
the window.
Heath.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heath. Here we go.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Heath Klein from Woodland Hills. I certainly cannot be as articulate as all the people that came before me, stressing the importance of an independent controller. So I will second everything that was said before me. But one point there I want to reiterate is obviously to make that effective, they must have the ability to have their own counsel. Because when you depend on the city attorney, who has to depend on the elected, you know, sitting around the horseshoe and in the mayor's office, it doesn't work. I want to add support for needing a independent public advocate to sit with city council and have the role that, again, people have talked about earlier, because neighborhood councils need someone to go to when they detect problems and so forth.
Thank you so much, Ray. Come on down.
Hello, my name is Reverend Ray Huang. I'm a pastor and a community leader and a mother here in Los Angeles. One, our city has a problem around mismanagement and corruption. We need real accountability and transparency, which is why I urge you not to eliminate or water down the city controller's office and to strongly follow the 6 recommendations from that office. 2, Angelinos are sick of watching waste management and poor decision-making with our tax dollars and our city can no longer be kept together with glue and duct tape, which is why I'm strongly urging the city charter reform recommendations to include participatory budgeting process and the capital infrastructure plan. We need a real sustainable plan to help us move into the 21st century, become a leader in both climate and labor. 4, we need LAPD accountability. For too long, LAPD has too much power in the city. They should be serving and protecting us, the people, not the other way around. We need to right-size that power now. 5, this charter reform process needs to expand. 8 months is clearly not enough time. The last time we did this, it took 2 years. It had resources and
Thank you
staff
so
to
much,
support the process.
Jared.
So we need
Jared, come on down.
The constant attacks being focused on the controller's office by this mayor and CEO are a blatant attack on the transparency that the controller's office is committed to providing the general public. Blocking the controller's office from doing its job, including providing audits on issues like the missing homelessness money, points to blatant real-time corruption here at City Hall. How can voters trust the mayor's office that works with the CAO who does everything that they can to prevent the controller's office from reporting the way the city creates its budgets and spends its money? One of the most important functions of the controller's office is to provide an independent elected office that isn't influenced by politics and special interest promises, who is trusted to report honest budgetary numbers and is responsible for highlighting areas of fraud, waste, and abuse in the city. The mayor's and CEO's office are copying the playbook straight out of Washington, D.C. right now, and they are displaying just how far they are willing to maintain their grip over taxpayer money for their obligations to their special interest commitments, while they also make deceitful excuses as to why the city cannot fully provide core services it is obligated to provide Angelinos. Enough is enough.
Thank you. Next up, we got Nick, Anne Marie, and Eloise. Nick, the other Nick Heron, Anne Marie, and Eloise. Come on down.
Hi, I'll make this quick. I'm a writer, I'm an Air Force veteran, and I love this city. I think we all do not understand why fraud, waste, and abuse would be something that would be disregarded with this motion. But then it all comes together when you realize that Ted Stein is the poster child for corruption, fraud, waste, and abuse. Please, I urge everyone to look up why Ted Stein had to resign in disgrace in 2004 from the Airport Commission. Please understand that this is not a smart thing for you to do politically. No one here understands why you think that destroying a department that is looking into fraud, waste, and abuse, that has exposed $23 million worth of fraud, waste, and abuse this year alone, why you think that you can propose that we destroy this and your career will still be intact blows my mind. And I think all of us here do not understand. Now, I have to ask, because I don't want to be rude unnecessarily, is your chair broken, or are you just choosing to pretend like you don't care by leaning this far back? Because everyone else,
Thank you so much, Anne Marie.
back like you're in a recliner back home, and we're sick of it. So please understand where this is coming from. Understand where the fraud, waste, and abuse is coming from. This is inexcusable, indefensible.
So you're taking everyone else's time. You just lost somebody else their speaking spot. Anne Marie.
Hi, Commissioners. I'm Anne Marie. I am very grateful to speak with you and speak from my heart and tell you I am super grateful for the work of LA Commission Controller's Office. I've been incredibly impressed with it. And I feel like right now I don't need to tell you all the reasons why. My neighbors have done an incredible job doing that. I just want to tell you that it's pretty clear to me that this is a litmus test. If you are against oversight, if you're actively fighting oversight, me, myself, my neighbors, my colleagues, PTA moms, union members, we're going to actively work to replace you, including our mayor. We don't want to see, we want oversight. We love the work that the controller's office does. I've joined his Zoom calls that are open to all to understand the resources that his office has put up, all the websites. It's incredible the amount of work that they've done with the budget that the city's given.
Thank you, Eloise.
So,
hello, members. My name is Eloise Caney. I'm a constituent of CD1 and a labor organizer here in the city of Los Angeles. Just echoing my fellow constituents, the Controller's Office acts as the watchdog of the taxpayers of Los Angeles. This office has uncovered recently unconscionable fraud and waste that flies in the face of the public good. The fact that Kenneth Mejia and his office specifically are being targeted by members of this body after providing clear dashboards and data visualizations to literally democratize the knowledge of how our money is being spent is severely alarming, but also shows that the office is doing exactly what it should be doing. It is doing critical work of uncovering the dysfunction of the city's spending and providing specific, tangible recommendations to fix them. I strongly urge you to protect the independence and auditing strength of the City Controller's Office. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, that concludes 30 minutes of in-person. Before we switch to online virtual comment, I know we have one more speaker.
Yes, I believe we have the city administrative officer who would like to come and speak before the commission. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Zabo. You have 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes to address the commission.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the opportunity to just say a few words. I will try to keep it under 5 minutes. My name is Matt Zabo. I'm the City Administrative Officer. A number of the recommendations you have before you do impact my office. With few exceptions, the Office of the CAO largely serves the role of a traditional chief financial officer, as you would consider it. Our office advises the mayor and the council on the financial condition of the city. We track and forecast revenue. We track and forecast expenditures. We prepare the budget. We conduct financial analysis. We manage our debt portfolio, among many other responsibilities. My office works very well with the controller's office. And in many ways, we are the same team on much of the work that we do. I do not believe that the relationship between the controller and the CAO is a problem that needs fixing. And I do not believe that we should remove any powers or responsibilities from the controller. To the contrary, I think there is merit in considering greater oversight powers for the city's elected auditors. It is a critical function for the city, and it should be certainly consideration for enhancement is warranted. It should not be diminished. But as to the question of the chief financial officer, that is a specific designation, and that designation should remain or should be placed in the office of the CAO. There are two critical reasons why it would be counterproductive to separate the financial responsibilities of a CFO from the responsibilities and the powers of the city council and the mayor. Number one, the mayor and the council are elected by the people to enact public policies and manage public resources to support those policies. That's their principal obligation when voters put them in those positions. So placing the CFO responsibilities in a separately elected public official would be a recipe for gridlock and stalemate. We would be institutionalizing conflict. No well-functioning organization would have a CFO operating separately and possibly in conflict with its CEO and its board of directors. Doing so in this case would make government, LA City government, actually less accountable and much less efficient. And then secondly, just very plainly, the controller's role as the chief auditor and watchdog is critical to holding city government accountable. And it's probably no more critical than in the area of spending. It would be a clear conflict of interest for to have a structure where the city's CFO audits itself. We need both, but they cannot and should not be in the same office. So just in summary, and I appreciate your consideration, my recommendations to keep the controller's office intact, to consider enhancement of the watchdog functions and the oversight functions of the office that are critical to the city, but to designate the CAO as the city's CFO. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zabo. We will now move to 30 minutes of virtual public comment.
Thank you. Alrighty, we are gonna take people again for those listening online. I'm gonna call 3 names at a time, so just be prepared. And you'll all get 1 minute. Alrighty. The Calm, Akura, and Jester. Calm, Akura, and Jester are the first 3. Calm, we're gonna take you off of mute right now. Comb, can you hear us? Comb is gone. Okay. After Comb is Acura. Jade. Acura Jade. Taking you off mute. Can you hear us?
Hi, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, go.
Good morning, Commission. I'm here to speak about my support of the following reforms to the Charter, Agenda Item 1D, and my disapproval of Item Number 1C, the creation of a new CFO position within the city's government to implement what Mr. Mejia's on his office already does is just the creation of a new what him and his office already just does limits the transparency of our city's financial decisions and poorly educates the public on the use of funds. The LA Comptroller's Office should be protected, and this commission should listen to its constituents. To ensure the Comptroller can fulfill their role as the city's independent watchdog, you, as the commission, should clarify that the Comptroller's audit authority includes performance audits of all city programs that are sourced or used from city tax dollars, allow the Comptroller to hire outside counsel, give the Comptroller an independent budget, designate the Comptroller as the city's chief financial officer, require minimum qualifications for the Comptroller's office, and enshrine the
Thank you
Comptroller's
so
fraud-
much. Next is Jester. After Jester is Angel Marie, Danielle, and Virginia. Please be ready. Angel Marie, Danielle, and Virginia. Jester, we're taking you off of mute. Jester, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, go.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening to the Charter Reform Commission. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Jester Jersey, and I run the Vote 16 California X/Twitter account, but I'm speaking today in my personal capacity. I want to speak about Agenda Item 1D, Ranked Choice Voting. I know in deliberating some of the recent items from previous meetings, costs and factors value into what gets recommended. I would like to recommend ranked choice voting for several reasons. First, it's a cost-effective method requiring no additional election days to schedule in the event there's no clear winner because alternatives are already assigned, making additional rounds of voting redundant. Second, it expands voice and choice, as voters don't need to feel constrained to their party's default candidate, but can weigh in on other options within the same race. Finally, campaigns would be centered around bridge building rather than focusing solely on their dedicated base, encouraging a collaborative approach because candidates can see who their supporters see them as similar to, promoting dialogue around the candidacy post-election on building a better city. Thank you again for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Angel Marie, we're taking you off of mute. Angel Marie, can you hear us? Angel. Taylor, last name Taylor? Nope, gone. Okay, Danielle, you're next. Danielle Williams, can you hear? We're taking you off of mute.
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Please go. 1 minute.
Danielle Williams, thank you for voting to move a version of the right to counsel and deportation defense recommendation forward to the City Council. Unfortunately, what could have felt like an unambiguously positive experience became deeply frustrating because the executive director insisted on referencing a commission staff report that he is aware is inaccurate. If you compare the revised report to the original, there are only a total of 16 differences. 5 of those are the replacement of the phrase represent LA with deportation defense. Other changes are similarly cosmetic. These are not the substantive changes we were led to believe would be made. And I cannot say it enough, there is no citation for the extravagant legal claim that if we state a clear right to deportation defense, we might have to provide legal services for every Angelino for everything. There is no citation because it is not true. And I will point out that when Justin spoke to the Root City Attorney representative, he did not ask him to clarify that point. He asked about a budgeting point, which we had already clarified.
Thank you so
in
much,
FAQs.
Danielle. Virginia,
I think the commission.
Sarissa, and Shide are next. Virginia, we're taking you off of mute. Virginia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
1 minute, go.
Good evening, council members. My name is Virginia Ordonez. I am coming from the San Fernando Valley, particularly Van Nuys. I'm a California State University Northridge Poli-Sci major, and I'm here to express my discontent with trying to create a CFO to be appointed and for them to be reporting to the mayor. I believe that Kenneth Mejia has been doing such a great job and demonstrating a lot of transparency to Los Angeles County constituents. I do not want his position to be closed. We need him and we need Los Angeles County to be very transparent. Do not be afraid of the transparency. If not, we will vote you out of office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sarissa, we are taking you off of mute. Sarissa, hopefully you can hear us. Sarissa?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, council members. My name is Sarissa, and I'm a Southern California native and a proud Angelino. I am also a seasoned crisis communications professional, so I know a power consolidation plan narrative when I see one. Creating a mayor-directed CFO that absorbs the controller's fiscal authority, even quietly, even incrementally, is not reform. It is a threat to an independently elected office that Angelinos voted for, specifically because they wanted the oversight that does not answer to the mayor. To put a finer point on it, as I understand it, we just watched an independent audit expose a $23 million homeless funding fraud that is money stolen from the most vulnerable people in the city. This is what independent oversight does. Undermining that mandate doesn't just weaken a city office, it spits in the face of every voter who put it there and the people who live and pay taxes here. This commission should understand clearly that the people watching this process are not passive. We recognize what's being designed here and we will hold every voter or every person accountable. Protect the controller office's independence, full stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Shida is next, then Stephen, Christine, and Danelle von Visger. Shida, can you hear-
Yes, I
Shida,
can hear
thank
you.
so
Yeah,
much.
of course.
So-
Hello, commissioners. I'm Shida Gandharizadeh. I work in Playa Vista, live in downtown LA, and was born and raised in Cheviot Hills. I'm a lifetime Angelino. I voted in every election at every level since I turned 18. And I'm taking the time out of my workday to voice and support an issue very important to me. Issues very important to me. Firstly, please advance proportional ranked choice voting alongside ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is a method of filling out the ballot, which I very much support. But proportional ranked choice voting is all that alongside an expansion of city council and a voting system that represents all rather than only the majority. When the 15th city council was established, it was 80,000 people to one council member. We are now at 260,000 citizens to one council member. We need many more seats, more than 23. This overhaul will make LA a beacon of democracy and give us a much more representational voting system. Speaking of representation, number 2, do not advance the proposal to create a CFO separate from the controller's office. Obviously, the people of LA and I are very happy with Controller Mejia. He
Thank
brings
you so much. Stephen, you're next. Stephen, we're taking you off of mute. Stephen, can you hear us? Stephen?
Yes, except I'm Steve and there's another Steven, so you had me very confused.
Go, 1 minute.
Okay. My name is Steve Chesson, Commissioners. I'm President of Californians for Electoral Reform. I'll be very brief. I urge you to support the recommendation that ranked choice voting shall be used for all city municipal elections. I also urge you to forward proportional ranked choice voting in multi-member districts as an option for the City Council to consider and discuss. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Christine, you're next. Christine, we're taking you off of mute. Christine, can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go.
Okay, I want to express my deep appreciation to Commissioner Fuentes and Commissioner Thomas for their leadership in bringing proportional ranked choice voting back into consideration, specifically the 9 districts, 27-seat model. That proposal represents vision, it represents courage, and it represents a real opportunity to transform how our city is governed. I strongly urge this committee to vote in favor of restoring proportional ranked choice voting as a recommendation to the full commission. For months, we have been held meeting after meeting. We have heard detailed presentations from electoral reform experts. We have listened to extensive public comment from residents across Los Angeles. The evidence has been thorough. The discussion has been robust. The conclusion is clear. If Los Angeles is serious about expanding the city council, we must do it in a way that expands representation in a meaningful way. This is the moment to act boldly. I urge you to move with this forward and recommend proportional ranked choice voting to the full commission. Our city deserves nothing less.
Thank you so much. The next, I'm sorry, I didn't queue up next people. The next people are Bennett, David, and Bobo Corn. I'm gonna burner that. I'm sorry. We'll unmute that person. Hold on. Bennett is next. Bennett is gone. David.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, wait, Bennett?
Sorry,
Okay.
problem with my computer. I
Okay.
am a taxpayer. I'm a business owner. I live in Atwater Village. Neutering the controller's office plays right into the narrative that we are a failed, corrupt city. Do you want to prove Donald Trump and the right wingers point for them, or are you better than that? Kenneth Mejia already laid out the 6 reforms I'm in support of as they relate to the controller's office at the beginning of this meeting. His work in the controller's office is the best thing I've seen happen in the governance of the city in the nearly 12 years I've lived here. We, the voters and taxpayers, demand and deserve transparency. Leave the city controller's office alone. If Mayor Bass is indeed pulling the strings here, it's no wonder her days are numbered as mayor. I also support ranked choice voting, and I yield my time.
Thank you so much. That was Bennett. I think, sorry, maybe was that Bennett? That was Bennett. So, sorry, David, we're unmuting you. David, can you hear us?
Yes. David Bullock, Granada Hills, Council District 12. I'm an old white conservative, so I do like the ideal of proportional rank representation. I think you should go with that. Regarding the controller, Kenneth Mejia, I don't like his politics. I don't like his videos with his dogs. I got a video the other day of him asking for money for his campaign reelection. I laugh because this guy doesn't even have to lift a finger, and he will be reelected overwhelmingly, I predict, with 85 to 90% of the vote, because he's that popular because of the work that he's doing. He has set the standard for what future controllers will have to be doing in order to get the support of people of the city. I will say that if you put the suggestion of getting rid of his office into the charter reform, when it goes to the ballot, it will be rejected by the voters just based on that one thing. So all the work you've done will be in vain. I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I'm going to try it again. Bob Erkin. Can you hear us? You're off of mute.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. So 1 minute.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Baburhan Abdullayev, and I'm a resident of West Hills, and I'm speaking for myself. I've been an accountant for over 8 years, and I support Controller Mejia and his 6 recommendations, as well as ranked choice voting and proportional ranked choice voting. Please give the controller an independent budget, designate the controller as the city's chief financial officer, require minimum qualifications for the controller. Please clarify that the controller's audit authority includes performance audits of all city programs that are sourced from or use city tax dollars, including those under elected offices. Allow the controller to hire outside counsel and enshrine the controller's fraud, waste, and abuse function. Auditors and their counsel need to be independent of whom they are auditing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Caitlin Brown is next. After Caitlin's going to be Ariana, Sandra, and Tamaya. Caitlin, we're taking you off of mute. Caitlin, can you hear us? Caitlin? Caitlin, can you hear us? Nope. No more Caitlin. After Caitlin was Ariana. Ariana, we're taking you off of mute. Hopefully you can hear us. Ariana.
Hi, I'm here.
Yep. 1 minute. Go.
All right. I want to very, very clearly state that we need to preserve the independence of the controller's office. Kenneth and his team have been the only person and people who have provided the transparency and the accountability that the taxpayers demand and expect, especially from a city, one of the richest cities from one of the richest countries. It's super disappointing that you all would remove the office entirely, harass or create any sort of issues for the controller's office. I ask that you all follow the 6 recommendations. Give the controller an independent budget. Designate the controller as the city's chief financial officer, that there are qualifications for the controller, to clarify that the controller's audit authority includes performance audits of all city programs. Allow the controller to hire outside counsel and enshrine the controller's fraud, waste, and abuse function. I'm speaking as someone who lives in this city,
Thank you,
who pays a lot.
Ariana. Sandra, you are next. Sandra, we are going to take you off of mute, and hopefully, Sandra, you'll be able to hear us. Sandra, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, 1 minute. Go.
Okay, so I was on the first LA Charter Reform in downtown as a delegate and a volunteer. And I just want to share, I have 22 years of real estate experience, and what lacked in that room was the amount of experience. And so I just want to give a voice to people who have been in the real estate industry. We need to stay together with California. Here's my statement. I joined Churro over 3 years ago and then joined DSA November of 2024. Very grateful to be part of the 2024 Housing and Homeless Committee. My primary objective has been ending violence through education. I am encouraged by the alley charter reform and the restructuring of the new resources dispatch approved yesterday by a motion of Eunices Hernandez. I'm confused by all the people who talked today that are running for office but are saying we shouldn't trust the mayor.
And thank you so much. Let's see. Tamaya. Tamaya is next. After Tamaya is Jamie, Sam, and Miles. Jamie, Sam, and Miles. Tamaya, we're taking you off of mute. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, 1 minute.
Awesome. My name is Tamaya Denard, and I work for Represent Women. Represent Women is a national organization that tracks electoral outcomes for women in jurisdictions where RCV is present. Ranked choice voting is a proven strategy that enables women to seek and win elected office because when it is present, women hold 55% of seats in jurisdictions where it is. Adopting single winner ranked choice voting is a huge step forward in eliminating the barriers that women face and take all elections because of the things that people talked about earlier in terms of civil campaigning, and allow voters to vote their true preference instead of voting strategically and excluding good candidates because you don't think they can win. But additionally, proportional ranked choice voting is an option now. It's critical to combating low voter turnout, in addition to the persistent and consistent underrepresentation of women, people of color, and lower income communities. Every district and every ward would have fair representation. As the federal government works to strip voting rights from its citizens, implementing PRCV is a way for Los Angeles to safeguard the rights of her citizens. And I yield my time.
Thank you so much. Jamie, we are taking you off of mute. Jamie, can you hear us?
Yep.
1 minute.
All right. Yes to city council expansion, but I want 33, not 23. Yes to ranked choice voting. Yes to the city controller keeping all of their powers. Please stop messing with him. People like him. Finally, I want to talk about the public advocate because I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of motion Ray and or Ted introduces at the last moment to mess with it. But I would caution that the staff report that you're looking at is full of Chat GPT slop. If you look at the footnote number 6 in the report on the public advocate, what's that there? Equal source Chat GPT? Is this really what the staff is doing, is using AI, which is notoriously unreliable for niche options to create reports? No wonder this stuff has been such a mess. So I just want to say that the public advocate is something that we desperately, desperately need. And I hope that we consider it based on facts and reality, not
Thank you
ChatGPT
so much.
slop.
Sam is next. Sam, we're taking you off of mute. Sam, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, 1 minute, go.
Hello, Commissioners. I am Sam Svensson, a resident of Koreatown. I'm calling in support of the following reforms to the Charter to ensure that the Controller can fulfill their role as the city's independent watchdog. Give the Controller an independent budget, designate the Controller as the city's chief financial officer, require a minimum qualifications for the Controller, allow the Controller to hire outside counsel, ensuring the Controller's fraud, waste, and abuse functions. Lastly, the idea that we don't need an independent Controller and can instead replace them with a new CFO appointed by the very department we want checks and balances for makes zero sense in the eyes of the people that you serve. This restructuring would weaken essential checks and balances, reduce transparency, and create opportunities for financial mismanagement by consolidating authority within Mayor's office. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sam. Miles, we're taking you off of mute. Miles, after Miles is Chad, Roy, and Sean. Chad, Roy, and Sean. Miles, can you hear us?
Yes.
Miles, go.
I'm calling to support the city controller's office. I think everybody's made a lot of good points. I would just like to highlight some examples of why we should have an independent city controller. 1, the city of Los Angeles has had a bad decade of corruption. Mark Ridley Thomas, Huizar, like, we really do not want to put any more power in the city council or the mayor's office to determine their own financial affairs. This has not gone well. We need someone who will actually watch and hold them accountable, and having the oversight under the city council will not be a good idea. I would recommend you look to the Sheriff Oversight Commission for the city of, or for the county of Los Angeles, if you'd like to see more toothless oversight for things that are too powerful for them. You will not be able to control something that you are not independent from. So
Thank you so much, Miles. Chad, we're taking Chad off of mute. Chad, can you hear us? Chad?
Do you hear me?
Yep, 1 minute, go.
Perfect. The case for expanding mayoral power rests on seductive logic, concentrated authority for more accountability, and in a moment of genuine financial crisis, someone empowered to act decisively. Both of these arguments ultimately fail. A mayor who appoints department heads without council approval, reorganizes city government unilaterally, and transfers funds with minimal oversight is not more accountable to residents. She's accountable to voters once every 4 years, which is a considerably thinner form of democratic participation than ongoing legislative deliberation. On the budget crisis, emergency conditions are precisely when concentrated, insulated executive power is most dangerous. The temptation to cut without deliberation, to reorganize without oversight, to move money without accountability is greatest under fiscal pressure. Los Angeles residents learned this under the DWP scandals and the Reyes recordings. The problem was never insufficient mayoral power, it's insufficient oversight, made behind closed doors. The commission should be moving in the opposite direction, towards distributed democratic power, not consolidated executive authority.
Thank you so much, Chad. Next is Roy. Roy, we are taking you off of mute. Roy, can you hear us? Roy. Roy? No, Roy?
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, Roy, 1 minute, go.
I apologize. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Roy from Highland Park. I wanted to quickly say that I wanted to implore the commission to support ranked choice voting, the creation of an office of the public advocate, and the expansion of city council. I also wanted to say that any effort to limit, to merge, or to abolish the city controller's office by creating an independent CFO is an immediate risk to the financial and the fiscal health of Los Angeles. We see the positive work from the city controller's office by the uncovering of $23 million of taxpayer dollars. And any risk to the fiscal health of Los Angeles is a threat to the public safety and health of the city. And we must take the public health and safety of Los Angeles seriously. Instead of focusing on creating a new office or creating an independent CFO, I urge the commission to implement the city.
Thank you so much, Roy. Sean is next. After Sean is the other Steven Steger, and Kay. Sean, Stephen K. Sean, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Hi, my name is Shawnee Samu Johnson. I live in Council District 14. I'm here to express my strong disapproval of establishing a new CFO to replace or dilute the city controller. I think the current controller has proven the value of his office to investigate fraud and corruption many times over. And it should seem obvious why the task of investigating and eliminating corruption can only be done by a separate and independent entity, one who's elected freely by the residents of LA and not appointed by the mayor. I'm here to say that I think that the city controller's office is one of the few shining examples of how our city's government should work for the people. And here we are, the people, having to defend that office and oppose an obviously inferior system, a CFO appointed by the mayor, prone to bias, influence, and corruption. I urge you to think about why replacing the controller with the CFO is such a bad idea. And if nothing else, I urge you to think about the poor optics that this move will bring, further alienating the people of LA from their government. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve is next. Steve, we're taking you off of mute. Steve, can you hear us, or Steven?
Yes, hello. Hi, my name is Steven Steger. I am a resident of Los Angeles District 10 and a local business leader. I'd like to thank the Ad Hoc Commission for advancing single winner ranked choice voting for final consideration. While this is a positive step forward, without increasing the total number of city council members and introducing proportional ranked choice voting with multi-member districts, the people of LA will not reap the full benefits of better representation that they deserve. LA's city council is disproportionately small compared to other large cities in the US. limiting its effectiveness and assisting its constituents. The current small number of single winner districts makes it too easy to disenfranchise voters based on how district lines are drawn. Please advance multi-winner proportional ranked choice voting in an expanded city council so it can be considered by the full commission. Angelenos deserve transparency and accountability, and you should fully support Kenneth Mejia, the independence of the Controller's Office, and the proposals the Controller's Office has put forward. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kay, we're taking you off of mute. After Kay is going to be Megan, Jason, and Sheeta. Megan, Jason, Sheeta. Kay, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Go.
It never occurred to Link that the city clerk would decide to take $917,000 out of the neighborhood councils to balance its budget, but that's what happened. They did this because they could. It was a lack of imagination that prevented Link from discussing this. The charter provides a term of office for each elected officer and member of the Board of Education, and provides Article 4 for elections for the officers in the city and the Board of Education. There is nothing for neighborhood council elections. This could be fixed by adding this statement to the charter. Terms of service are defined in each neighborhood council bylaws, and elections are held every 2 years. I ask that someone make a motion in support of this. Elections are and must remain sacred. In the middle of the Civil War, Lincoln's advisors pushed him to cancel the 1864 election. Lincoln's response was, "We cannot have free government without elections." If Lincoln could not be persuaded to cancel an election at the time of the Civil War, the city also must not cancel an election because the budget is tight.
Thank you so much, Kay. Megan is next. Megan, we're taking you off of mute. Can you hear us, Megan? Megan's nope, no Megan. Okay, after Megan was Jason. Jason, we're taking you off of mute. Jason, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, 1 minute.
Okay, going quick. 1A, council expansion support. I support this, but prefer to expand to at least 27. 1B, rate choice. I support this. 1C, CFO, do not support. 1D, controller, support. 1E, mayor powers, do not support. 2A, public advocate, support. 2B, proportional RCV and 27 seats, support. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lost my place. Sorry. After Jason, Sheeta. Sheeta, we're taking you off of mute. Sheeta, can you hear us? Sheeta?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for the time that you're taking to do all this work. His amount of work is amazing. As you can hear, Kenneth is a popular elected, so please don't mess around with his position. People like him, and we like to have somebody that watches out for us and the budget and the monies that are being spent. Regarding public advocate, you've heard me many, many, many times, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. We need a public advocate, please, because look, what we've been dealing with for the last few years, corruption, and more corruption. And I don't understand why. And by the way, thank you, Commissioners Thomas and Fuentes. Thank you for reintroducing this back into the program. We fully support it. I speak for myself. I attended Rewrite LA's mini assembly, and during that time, we came up with a preamble and Bill of Rights that spoke to a public advocate.
Thank you,
So those
Sheeta.
two, thank you.
Next is Jayong and Stan and Margaret. Jayong, Stan, and Margaret. Jayong, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
1 minute.
I'm Jiyoung Park, speaking as an individual. I was a panelist on the Citizens Assembly, and as you're aware, we strongly recommended a capital infrastructure plan to intentionally build the infrastructure of the city and spend taxpayer dollars. We know the building and repairing of the infrastructure needs streamlining, and a capital infrastructure plan is the way to do it, as every other major city does. I urge the commission to incorporate all of the recommendations of the city controller. Angelenos are sick of the corruption in City Hall, and decreasing transparency will only increase the distrust and disdain for city institutions. I support expanding the city council to 50 seats. Since a 15-seat council was established in 1925, the city's population has more than quadrupled. I also support the changes recommended by Public Bank LA so that taxpayer
Thank you so much.
dollars can be kept.
Stan, you're next. Stan, can you hear us? We're taking you off of mute, Stan. After Stan is Margaret. Stan, can you hear us? Stan.
Hey, can you hear me?
1 minute, go.
Sure. My name's Stan Dyro. I live in CD1. I went to LA public schools. I spent most of my life here. I believe LA should be a model for the nation, but we have to be honest. City Hall is a transparency problem. Basic services are slipping. We can't fix potholes. We can't clearly track how millions of dollars are spent. It's unacceptable. I've worked in data analytics, helped reform businesses, organizations. Transparency is important. The Controller's Office is not about politics, it's about oversight. I disagree with the current
taxes for vacant land for the entire 2 blocks of Windward Avenue in Venice and Oceanfront Walk for a total value of $3,948,981. It's outrageous. We need this independent controller with
Thank you so much, Margaret. And Mr. Chair, that concludes 30 minutes of virtual public comment.
All right, we now move on to neighborhood council community impact statements. Are there any approved neighborhood council community impact statements either in the room and online? Okay, see one in the room. Sir, you will have 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amos Marvel. I'm the Vice President of the Reseda Neighborhood Council. The Reseda Neighborhood Council supports the creation of an elected office of the Public Advocate as utilized in the City of New York. The office accomplishes a number of goals. One challenge the Charter Reform Commission has considered is whether a council president should be able to simultaneously fill a mayoral vacancy indefinitely, or what the appropriate line of succession might be. In New York City, they have a straightforward answer: the Public Advocate. A citywide elected official, the first in line to fill a vacancy in the office of the mayor. The Public Advocate is a non-voting member of the City Council capable of participating in debates and introducing and seconding items. They are a non-voting member of all committees. This provides an independent voice at City Hall and strengthens internal checks and balances within the council as well as within the mayor. The Public Advocate serves a key function in responding to citizen complaints regarding the delivery of services and 311 requests. They function as a public watchdog, capable of conducting investigations, and the office also has a role as charter cop to ensure compliance with the charter. After finding a violation, the parties are allowed to issue a response to the Public Advocate before a report is issued to the council and the mayor. We also support giving the LA Public Advocate additional powers the New York City Public Advocate initially held, like the power to provide over council meetings. This would still allow the council president to set the agenda, but allow a more neutral party to conduct meetings and determine what is a reasonable amount of time for public comment. The council could still amend their internal rules or move to overrule them as they can with any chair. The Reseda Neighborhood Council also supports council expansion. Los Angeles needs council members who can reasonably serve their constituents in a timely manner. Unfortunately, council districts at present are unmanageably large. We support council expansion to a minimum of 25 council members, which would take us from being the most underrepresented city in the nation to merely the third most underrepresented. Additionally, the Reseda Neighborhood Council supports ranked choice voting. Finally, we support clarifying the controller's auditing authority over all city programs, including those administered by elected officials. Currently, elected officials can shield their programs from fiscal scrutiny, a gap that undermines transparency and accountability to Angelenos. Expanding the controller's auditing authority closes this loophole and ensures that no office operates beyond independent oversight. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's anyone online with CIS, you can raise your hand now. Going once, twice. All right. No, it looks like that's it.
All right. Commissioners, I've received a number of requests for a brief recess. I would like to recess for 10 minutes and reconvene at 6:47. Is there any objection?
No.
All right, seeing none, we'll recess for 10 minutes.
But it's important to note that the restroom that's on this floor is not working.
There's one. Folks, there's one more. There's one downstairs. If you take the stairs that are right down, our friendly officers will also point you the way. Basically, right under this chamber, there's a bathroom till 6 p.m.
We will reconvene at 6 p.m. All right, for those on Zoom, we are going to reconvene the meeting with a roll call. Commissioner Field.
Present.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Present.
Commissioner Levine.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
Commissioner Mack.
Present.
Commissioner Mesa is present. Commissioner Murray is absent. Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
Commissioner Stein.
Present.
Commissioner Thomas.
Present.
Commissioner Yap.
Present.
Thank you, commissioners. Commissioners, for the meeting minutes, what we're going to do to make sure the meeting minutes are not rushed, so we get accurate minutes and also they are noticed and emailed out to commissioners. What we are going to do is as we've transitioned to the Tuesday, Thursday schedule, is we will have our minutes presented the following Tuesday for approval. So every Tuesday moving forward, you will see the prior week's Tuesday and Thursday meeting minutes. So I'm asking if the approval of the meeting minutes for February 24th, 2026 can be continued to next week, please. Is there any objection? All right, seeing none, thank you, commissioners. All right, we will now move on to item number 1, consideration and possible approval of a report from the Ad Hoc Committee on Potential Government Structure Related Amendments limited to the items that have been agendized. Obviously, all of these are going to be called special. We are going to do these individually. And so we will start with a city council expansion, and I will hand it to Commissioner Andrades to review where we are at. Commissioner Andrade, City Council expansion.
Yes, I'm happy to talk about City Council expansion. So both at the committee level, we presented a range that we believed reflected adequately the views not only expressed to us by the advocates, but by our staff, but also by the data. That started with 23 at the floor to be the smallest city council that would have the best results in terms of increasing representation and increasing the ability for minorities to elect representatives. Obviously, we had a range that was above 23, but at the ad hoc committee, this was then 23 was the number that was settled on. Happy to chat more if people have specific questions, but under the data that we had looked at, 23 was sufficient to have a city council that is bigger, more representative of Los Angeles, and gives minorities across the city the ability to elect candidates of choice.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrade. For the benefit of the public and other commissioners, I know that there are a number of people who are also interested in item 2G, which is multi-member and proportional ranked choice voting. I want to let the public and the commission know that these two items, single seat district and item 2G, do not cancel each other out. In the theoretical possibility that the commission were to advance both, we would advance two recommendations to the commission. So I just wanted to make that clear to commissioners before we enter to the discussion and to the public. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And, I would just suggest two things that I think we should advance both, because proportional ranked choice voting is a more equitable way.
Commissioner Thomas, I just ask you.
I know.
I'm sure we will give ample amount of time for 2G, but we were talking primarily about city council expansion.
Yeah, and so in terms of city council expansion, if it's going to be at 23, then we definitely need to make sure that we include proportional ranked choice voting. And the reason that I'm saying that is that what the discussion was, for those who remember from the ad hoc committee, we found out that in order for this to be more equitable for Black and API, for the Black and API community, it would need to be larger than 23. And that is very troubling. That was very troubling to me, and to hear that be said and then still vote for 23 was very troubling. And so I want commissioners to know who were not a part of the ad hoc committee that 23 is totally and completely kind of arbitrary. It is not set in stone. If we are going to consider the Black and API community, then we need to consider moving that number beyond 25.
Commissioner Field?
I'm sorry, if we have a motion on this item at the moment.
No, not yet. The recommendation from ad hoc was for 23. Would you like to move that motion?
I would, thank you.
All right, I will second. Commissioner Yap.
Thank you. This is about what is the number, and the feedback that we've received from many other communities, including the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, would be that a number that is 29 would be the most equitable, would be more equitable. So I would look to amend the motion to read that we would expand the city council to 29 single member seats.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fuentes. Commissioners, before us is the discussion item is council expansion size to 29. Discussion. Commissioner Lewis.
Just to be clear, are we amending the motion from 23 to 29?
That's the discussion item right now. The amendment, I don't need to ask if the amendment's friendly. I know it's not. And so we're going to have discussion on 29 and then take a vote. If the amendment passes, it will be 29. If the amendment fails, it will go back to discussion on 23. So the discussion right now before us is on 29. Commissioner Andrades and then Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes. For my fellow commissioners who weren't there at the committee level, we did talk about a range from 23 to 31. The problem that was presented by the LA Governance Reform Project, which was a coalition of academics from leading universities across Los Angeles and Los Angeles County, they reviewed several different options. And they specifically not only reviewed the options in terms of what the data says, but they talked to voters across Los Angeles in small groups and conducted other polling to figure out, if you increase city council, is there a point at which voters just don't want to increase it anymore and they will vote down any ballot measure that does this? Now, the LA Governance Reform Project found that once you hit 27 or more seats, the appetite for increasing city council dramatically drops, especially once you hit 29 in the low 30s, to the point where there would not be enough voters who are in support of such a large city council that they would advance such a ballot measure. Now, obviously, I think that making sure that we create a city council that has an equitable number is very, very important. And while 29 is within the threshold that we had recommended, the threshold was such that 23 to 31, because there were advocate groups that expressed the number of 23 will increase the voting power for many minority groups across the city. Obviously, not all of them. And it's imperfect because a lot of our minority groups don't actually live in such a way where if you draw a district, you will completely capture them in a majority of the electorate. So that's the challenge. And 23 is obviously not perfect, but it would allow the ability for the Independent Redistricting Commission to draw lines in such a way that they can try to create majority-minority coalition districts of different minority groups to at least advance a candidate of choice. And 23 would allow that kind of, clever math, and it's up to a commission that's not us to play with that. I think that 29 has negative challenges with regard to the voters' appetite for advancing such a ballot measure that I wouldn't necessarily support it.
I have Commissioner Fuentes, Mack, and Thomas in the queue. Commissioner Fuentes.
I did not mean to get in the queue. That was my bad.
Apologies. Commissioner Mack.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the comments from my fellow commissioner. I was also on the government structure committee, and so we did hear the LA Governance project. I believe that study was conducted a few years ago. I do want to also uplift that the range that our government structure committee did put forward was 23 to 29, which was recommended to us from RLA, which is a People of Color Coalition. And to my understanding, they also did a series of community sessions in which they heard from the public in terms of the range of city council expansion numbers that folks would be comfortable with, and 29 was within that range. And so I think I just want to point back at their feedback and recommendation as well. I think to what Commissioner Yap was saying earlier about us meeting with the API leaders earlier this week, what I heard, and I think I'm just repeating for the rest of the commissioners who weren't able to attend that meeting, is that more districts will allow for smaller district size, which then will allow more constituents to be heard from in the district and be represented. And I think just speaking from an API community lens, the API community is so diverse. There's so many different ethnic groups within the API communities. And so I think when we're talking about council districts, we're talking about the opportunity of really increasing the size of council districts so that we can take a closer look at the nuances of each of the neighborhoods in which LA City neighborhoods are made up of. And I do want to add, it's more than just trying to get someone who is, let's say, for example, API elected in the seat, is also having an elected official in the council district elected that is accountable to the people living in the district. And as of right now, at least for the API community, they are pretty much dispersed all across the council districts in a way where the numbers are just, a lot of times the narrative is that there's not enough of us in each of the districts. And so I think because of that, really just raising the sentiment that more districts will allow for more voices to be heard with the API, but also the Black community in LA.
Commissioner Thomas.
I certainly do appreciate my colleague's explanation, but he kind of lost me when he said academics. I'm just saying, from one academic to the next. One of the things that Los Angeles is, it is a very diverse community. One of the things that this meeting has shown us is that we can come together. Every walk of life has been in this room, and every walk of life agrees on what needs to happen in the city of Los Angeles to make it a better place. Why we won't listen to the people who are going to be directly affected, I just don't understand it. I don't get it. We have allowed elected officials to lead as they have seen appropriate. And now we're reaping the consequences of that. And so I think we need to do something a little different. I think we forget what our charge is. If our charge is to make recommendations that will be palatable to elected officials, if that was what I thought our charge was, then I wouldn't be sitting on this commission. Because you can easily find out the sentiment of elected officials. They talk about what their priorities are all the time. And usually it's lip service when it comes to the people. And so what I thought, the reason that you would get private citizens to volunteer their time to sit on this commission would be because they would see the contributions of community far differently than an elected official that's running for office. And so I think we need to walk away from this idea of, oh, that's too controversial. We need to walk away from that and let city council, whether or not, if we are saying that 23 is not going to be beneficial to Black and API, the Black and API community, If that is in fact the case, and that's what we've heard, I don't care what city council thinks of the mayor. We are sitting here as an arm of the people, not an arm of city council. That's why we have the ex parte communication that we have to, because that's not who we are. Whatever city council decides to do, if they want to go against the voice of the people, they have every right to do that, but we should not do that for them. And what people are saying that this seems like and feels like is the exact same thing that the Congressional Black Caucus did when the reparations bills were to be introduced. They decided not to introduce them because they knew that Governor Gavin Newsom was going to run for president, and they also knew that he would have to veto the bills. And so they did not move them forward. And at the end of the day, that's what this sounds a lot like with all of this. Well, that won't pass, or this won't pass. If the people want 29, and the city council has to make that decision, then our recommendation needs to be 29 for no other reason than the people need to have trust in us. They need to have hope. And time again, it just doesn't happen. We had the chair of the reparations committee established by Mayor Garcetti in this room, prepared to give public comment. Instead, we called the police and put them out. We're not city council. We were not elected. This is not, we shouldn't act like city council. I'm going to say it again. What happened with the API community, for those of us who were there, is what should have happened with every community group. Anybody who has wanted to sit down and talk to us should have been allowed to do so. And on that note, the folks from LEAP want to come and field our questions about reparations. And they want to meet with each commissioner. If you are willing to meet with them, please give me your information and I will pass it on to them if you're willing to meet with them. But this is too important of a time for us to do politics as usual. And so when it comes to the Black and the API community, we do live all over this city. And I know that unless, no, we're not talking about proportional ranked choice voting. But if we don't do something, we will be re-disenfranchising Black and Asian people. And you need to know that as you contemplate how you will vote. And if that is okay with you, then hey, that's fine. If that is okay with you. But please, let's not make this an academic exercise, a theoretical exercise. These are real decisions that impact the lives of real people. Thank you.
Before I continue on with the queue, I want to let the commission know that a number of commissioners are going to need to depart starting at 8 p.m. We will, of course, continue the business of the commission as long as we have quorum. If we are to drop below quorum, I can commit to stay along with other commissioners to continue to hear public comment. So just wanted to note that for commissioners. Commissioner Field.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say, and I'm not sure if the audience got this, and frankly, I don't know who gave it to us. We have a one pager that someone passed around called Summary of Data. And it seems to be pointing out with different size councils, the likelihood of particularly AAPI and Black seats, quote unquote seats, right? We don't technically label our seats by anybody's ethnicity, although we know the history. You know, it's funny because Commissioner Andrade's talked about at the original committee that heard this, the report of academics. And my attitude is sometimes they're right. And in this case, I just want to say, I'm going to just say a fact. I know it might upset a lot of people, but advocates do not equal the electorate. And I think the academics were probably right that if you go too high, the general public's attitude is no more politicians. We have enough. They're a waste. They're corrupt, etc. So, you know, I also want to say regarding this chart, by the way, does anybody know who gave it to us? It doesn't have any.
Cal RCV, right?
Okay, I don't know.
Yes, it was included
It
with
doesn't
the-
have any, you know, indication on it.
Well, let's have Commissioner Field finish her comment, please, before
Yeah.
we.
And I hope, I mean, at least I hope commissioners have it. I apologize. I don't know how the audience gets some of this stuff. But I think my point is there's assumptions made here that with a council of 23, single seat, there won't be any Asian Pacific Islanders elected, 0 out of 23. But I'm not sure how anybody knows that, because the districts are going to be drawn for the first time in LA history by an independent redistricting commission, which will be authorized and required to take into account issues of diversity and representation. So I guess all I'm saying is I'm not even thinking of the council. I don't know what they're going to do with our recommendation. I think in this case, those academics that Commissioner Andrade's referred to probably are right, that if we go much higher than 23, we won't get the votes, if indeed the council sends that number to the voters. So maybe I'm a little too pragmatic, but I'm trying to think the long game. I don't want us to be stuck at 15 for another 10 years till there's another charter commission. Thank you.
Are there any other commissioners who would like to get in the queue? Commissioner Yap and then Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Yap.
So in trying to figure out what the, we'll say good data is difficult because there are, just as Commissioner Field pointed out, a redistricting that would need to occur, a lot of assumptions about theory on how polling or voting would go. I believe it's our responsibility to voice what we know, the communities that have been working in this space. I think RLA is one of them, but that have really spent a lot of time looking at what communities are expecting. And at least what we heard from community leaders on Monday was that they're just not getting, not just services as Asian American Pacific Islanders, they're not getting services, period. So if we're even talking about the number of residents to city council members, at 23, that would be, in today's LA, 180,000 people per city council member. That is movement in the right direction, but that is not on peer with other cities in this country. So I would urge us to look at what are the communities asking for, what is the number to city council representation, and less so things that we can't know today, which are theory on polling and theory on what will go through city council and how districting will be drawn.
Commissioner Levine.
I think that there's a few things to think about when we think about the size of the council. One is communities of interest and how communities of interest, whether they be ethnic or racial or otherwise, express power in their districts. The other thing to think about when we think about the size of the council is size of each district and how people have access to constituent services. The other thing we think about when we think about the size of the council is the relative voice of the individuals we elect to represent us. Because in expanding council, we are also expanding the number of people who speak for us, but perhaps limiting the power that they speak with just by increasing their relative numbers. Those are sometimes competing demands, and we are being asked to navigate between them. I think that however big the council is, whether it's 23 members, 25 members, 29 members, or 15 members, we should demand an awful lot of our council members. We should demand that they speak for and represent the communities who elect them, the individuals they are charged with representing, and the communities that make up their district, whether or not they found political support inside of those communities. I also believe that if we go to 23 seats, we would be, would you say 180? 170 to 180, I think is right. New York is about 165. Is that right? New York is, I think, at about 165. Houston's at about 150. Chicago has 51 aldermen. Chicago is smaller than the city of Los Angeles, so each one of those aldermen represents around 50,000 people. So these are questions we have to think about when we think about who we stack up against. But we weren't asked to develop a charter commission for Houston or New York or Chicago. We were asked to develop a charter for this city. We were also given the task of making recommendations to the city council. And we were asked to make recommendations on what we thought the city should look like, and we should articulate a vision for what we think the city should look like measured against the urgent needs that the city faces. We should also do our best, I think, to think about what the city council will do with those recommendations. And Commissioner Field, what you said a moment ago, I want to underline and amplify. Because if there's one thing, as Commissioner Thomas said, that so many people who've come before this commission, and I've only been here for a little while, I think I have to contractually obligated to say that every meeting. And when we get a new member, I'll stop. But Commissioner Thomas, you said everyone here agrees pretty much this city is underrepresented, and I strongly agree with that. And Commissioner Field, what you said is we can't afford to be stuck at 15 for another 10 years. And I believe that if we offer the city council a recommendation to nearly double the size of the city council, it will be rejected out of hand. And I have not made any ex parte discussions because I have not talked about this with any city council members, but I've worked in this building. We need to carefully balance our desire for change with the reality of the ordinance and the structure that brought us here. And so my position is that I would support the largest practical expansion of the city council that we can achieve. I do not believe that number is 29. And I would like to, hopefully, through this deliberation, identify what a number might be that gets us to a city that is more representative, where council members and elected officials have more connectivity to their residents because they know their communities better, they represent smaller districts. And with that, I yield to the next commissioner.
Commissioner Yap, just clarification, your amendment was for 29 or 27?
It was for 29.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, we're going to call the question on expanding city council to 29 seats. Commissioner Andrades,
No.
Commissioner Field,
No.
Commissioner Fuentes,
Yes.
Commissioner Levine,
No.
Commissioner Lewis,
Excuse me. No.
Commissioner Mack,
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes no. Commissioner Murray is absent. Commissioner Sanchez,
No.
Commissioner Stein,
No.
Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Yap.
Yes.
Motion fails. Commissioners, the motion before us is to expand council to 23. We proceed with discussion. Are there any commissioners that wish to get in the queue? Commissioner Fuentes.
I'd like to make an amendment to that recommendation to raise the number to 25. I seem to remember and recall.
Is
I
there-
second
it
that.
one-
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Fuentes?
Thank you. To my fellow commissioner's point about city comparisons and things like that, I seem to recall that the threshold of 25 would put us at par. It would be like a low bar to entry, but at par with other major cities across the US. I'll try to find which report or which file that was in, but yeah, I seem to recall that. So I think that that would be a compromise that makes sense. I completely agree with Commissioner Yap's points about 29 being the number that was pushed by our community members, and I'm bummed that that did not move forward. But I think 25 would satisfy what we're looking for.
Commissioner Thomas.
And because we know, because of this brilliant young man here, that equity begins at 25. It begins at 25. It's not perfect, but it begins at 25. I think we owe the people of Los Angeles to walk out of this room saying that we are a commissioner that's concerned about equity, that we are a commission that is concerned about Black and API folks who live in this city. And so I would ask you to strongly consider the 25, because the flip side of it is that the people that are pushing for the larger number are actually the people who are going to be most disenfranchised. That's the deal. And, and I think we have an opportunity to, and I'm not a compromiser, y'all. That ain't what I do. I'm right or wrong. It's either right or it's wrong. And so, again, as an academic myself, the biggest problem in the academy is no connection to what's going on in the street. Today, universities are not willing to just hire straight academics because students don't want them, because you can tell them the theory about the job, but you can't tell them how to be a good employee on the job. And so now, again, I am proposing that you do what shows that you care about Black and API people in this city. And I am also saying, not that I can twist your arm and make you do anything, but as a Black person who has continued to have to deal with being disenfranchised and pushed out of spaces and out of this city, that I will see that as an affront to Black people and as an affront to API folks. And that's if we do it or city council does it. Doesn't matter who does it. And so I think if city council hears that we really wanted 33, but then we put forward 29, And now the compromise is 25 because of the equity involved in it for two already disconnected, disempowered, or the attempt was to disempower. If we don't at least show that we are pushing for equity for Black people and for API folks, then we are just continuing what those city council members started. That's what we're doing, because their goal was to set up districts that would disempower Black people. That was their goal. That's why we're doing all of this. That was the corruption. And so if we can't say we're adding 2 more seats, if we can't do that, then I think we need to be prepared for a community to see us as an extension of the scheme of Nury Martinez.
Commissioner Mack.
Thank you, Commissioner Fuentes, for putting forward this amendment. I was also going to suggest 25 as a compromise after hearing from fellow commissioners' concerns with the number 29. I do think 25, from my understanding, gets us closer to a place where we can see more representation. I do understand that 23 is the floor of that range in which we were recommended, but I do think 25 is actually the number that the LA Governance Project put forward as well in their survey. And so I think just referring back to Commissioner Andrade's, your earlier point. And so I would be in favor of 25 and interested in hearing the discussion that we have at this table. I think a question that I have for the 23 conversation for the ad hoc, since they put forward this recommendation, would love to hear kind of thought process on that. And if there's something in terms of the reasoning around 23 that hasn't been captured at this table yet, would love to hear it in terms of just having this conversation of 23, 25.
Commissioner Stein.
In my opinion, I believe that 23 being approved by council is assuming a fact that's not in evidence. You are basically adding 50% more seats to the council. And I don't have any inside information, but I've been knocking around the halls of this building for a long time. And to me, 23 will most likely not be approved, and it'll be reduced. Unlike my friend, and I mean that dearly, my friend, Commissioner Thomas, we may agree on a whole bunch of issues, but I know I generally like him, and I think he generally likes me. I'm more of a pragmatist than James is. I didn't hear your comment. I think, I'm not sure I support 23 as being too many. And I've made that clear from the very beginning in the statements that I've made. But I will make clear that in my opinion, there is little or no chance that council will approve the 23. What I do agree with Commissioner Thomas is minority communities are underrepresented to some degree, but especially the API community. The API community, from the last statistics that I've seen, and I don't know if they're 100% correct, but they involve 12% of the population, and I think it's even the voting population of Los Angeles. And you might argue that Ms. Rahman could or probably is considered part of API, but there really are no Asians. Pardon?
Councilman
Councilman Lee.
Lee and
Lee,
her
okay,
daughter.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
And
Then I still think the Asian population is underrepresented. But my practicality, and nobody else has to agree with me, is that I can't support a motion to increase the size to 25.
Commissioner Levine, myself, and then Thomas.
One thing that I've heard from a number of commissioners who agree that the size of the city council needs to change, but perhaps are not in agreement over the feasibility, practicality of how we get there, is that there is broad agreement that no matter what we do here today, it will likely not be sufficient to address some of the representation concerns that have been brought before the council, or the commission rather. And I wonder if we could, I don't think we've done this yet, but I wonder if we could direct staff as we write the report to express as a consensus of the body that while we are offering a recommendation to 23 or 25, that we believe that there is value to a more representative democracy in the council, exploring exceeding our recommendation. And I wonder if the maker of the motion would accept that as a friendly amendment.
it's not friendly.
I'd like the vote to go on the original motion, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Done before, I'm sorry.
As just a point of order, Commissioner Levine, would you like to withdraw your amendment or?
I'll withdraw the amendment.
Understood. Thank you. All right. I have myself and then Commissioner Thomas in the queue. What I would normally say to some of my friends and work colleagues is this is a high quality problem. The base right here is expanding council from 15 to 23. And that in itself a few years ago would have been unthinkable. And rightfully so, people are advocating for more. And so I don't want what I just said to be an excuse that what people are advocating for more, there should not be more. But I do want to recognize a reality that we are actually having a conversation where we are viewing 23 as the base. And I think that's a good thing. But I also think that's not how a lot of people are viewing this topic. I certainly believe also with not having any ex parte discussions that people view 15 as the base. And I say that because there is publicly available information to us. I think many of us on the dais and in the public would probably identify Council members Soto Martinez and Council members Hernandez as some of the most progressive members on the council, as members of the council that would probably be the champions and the main advocates on the council to advance a recommendation like this. On February 1st, the East Sider on their Instagram has a post where both of them said their range was 21 to 23. And so, no, what council is going to do is not always the number one primary consideration that I give to a discussion, but it is something that I do consider. And so I share that information because if that's Council members Hernandez and Soto Martinez's publicly available position that is fairly recent, what do you believe the positions are of other council members? And I would like to say, I think you all know where my vote is going to be. I believe, and I appreciate everyone's contribution to this discussion, that if 23 is not something to be ashamed of, although I understand that many people will be disappointed. Commissioner Fuentes.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. It was Commissioner Thomas in the queue next.
Okay, thank you. And it was just because it was relevant to what you shared. Publicly, and I think even at our previous meetings, we've been joined by council members. So for a little bit of context, the number 25 was supported by Councilmember Rahman, who was already previously mentioned, Councilmember Harado, and Councilmember Hutt. Those are 3 different council members there. And then previously back, they've also supported Rahman and Harado, the ranges of 25 and 29. And even before that, former council member Paul Krikorian supported 23. And that was a while ago. So I do completely agree. 23 would be amazing to be passed. I think 25 would be just even better in terms of setting a baseline and a floor.
Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you. Recently, there was the head of the EEOC who came out and said that white men should file complaints with the EEOC because they have been discriminated against as a result of DEI, both because they are white and because of their gender. This is the political context that we're talking about. And as I have said over and over, the EEOC that once represented discrimination complaints against people of color has now been flipped to represent white men. I wonder, and I'm always confused by this. I wonder, is 25, an expansion to 25 more difficult than the abolition of enslavement? Than the end of Jim Crow? You know, that's political too. Again, this is the context we're living in. Why would a city council person want to share power? If you are a communitarian, that's exactly what you want to do. The fact, in the same way, there were people who had to be courageous and deal with the consequences of that. We don't have anything to lose. I don't understand why people are acting this. I mean, and maybe people have political aspirations or maybe they're looking for jobs. I don't know what the situation is, but I don't understand why are we going to tell the people that we are not going to put forward what they want? I don't understand where that comes from. I mean, I really don't understand where that comes from. In favor of, and I want you to follow the logic, in favor of elected officials, we have determined there is a considerable amount of corruption going on. How are we sitting here well, that's a good question. How could we on one level say we're here because of corruption? And then say, unless we preface it with the broken clock is right twice a day, we're here because of corruption in city council. And now we want city council, we want to veto what the people want in favor of potentially corrupt elected officials. I mean, I know that doesn't sound good, but I mean, at the end of the day, they were talking about Black people. And this was allowed to go on. And still, there's really not any real outrage. I mean, it's fake outrage because nothing has really been done about it. Nothing's been done. This commission is following in the same footsteps. We have heard that 25, the number 25, is more equitable for the very people that are the reason that we sit here. And yet we're talking about what elected officials said, what elected officials think. I don't think that's our task. I mean, I may as well be talking to an elected official. If I'm so concerned about what an elected official thinks, then why not talk to him and find out for sure? I'm not opposed to talking to elected officials. I just want to know what the conversation is. And we're at a juncture where it just doesn't make sense yet again. Yet again, it doesn't make sense. We have, I think, reached a compromise, 25. 25. I do not understand how it is. Well, let me ask this question. Do y'all think Black people have too much influence in this city? That's a question. And I would like to hear commissioners answer that question. Do you all believe that Black people have too much influence? Do you all understand that there is not a space in this city where Black people feel safe and welcome? Not a space, not in school, not at universities, not even at church. Not a space in this city where Black people feel safe. And I know we got Black elected officials, but that doesn't mean that they represent the interests of Black people. And I've given you an article on that wise. And so I'm not even arguing that the person who represents Black communities have to be Black. I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing that the person who represents Black communities need to be just. That's what I'm arguing. So don't misconstrue. I don't care who you are. If you are Black, white, blue, or purple, and you carry the water of white supremacy, you need to be treated like a white supremacist. And that is really what this conversation is about. That's what this conversation is about, and I don't want us to stray away from it. Those folks said that they wanted to eliminate Black political power in this city, and now we're saying that we want to do the same thing. How are we any different than them? This is what we're saying. I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care what your rationale is. That is what you are saying. How are we any different from them? We are not any different from them. Not only did they say that, oh, well, we're not concerned about Black Lives Matter. There's just 25 people yelling. Well, 25 people yelling got Kevin De Leon out of office. 25 Black people yelling got over $100 million taken from the police budget and put in the Black Achievement Program to protect Black children. We have had to come up with money to protect Black children from racial violence that is constantly approved. And as soon as that money was taken for the Black Student Achievement Program, the Black school board member, George McKenna, tried to put the police back in the schools, knowing full well that the issue was that the police were waiting on the steps of the school for students to be late so that they could be charged with truancy. This is what was happening in LAUSD. And it's not gotten any better. Verdugo Hills, young man being bullied, beat up many, many times, told his principal, nothing happened. We can't do anything. This is what they tell Black people. That's what this reminds me of. What you tell Black people. You come up with excuses as opposed to supporting us. We can't do anything. We can't stop it. But you know exactly what to do. When that black boy defended himself, you arrested him. You suspended him. It's all on videotape. All of the incidences of racial violence on videotape. A child, when a Black middle schooler was thrown into the street, his head hit the curb, and the white parent put his knee on his neck and said, I'm going to George Floyd you. The principal would not even talk to the parents. Would not even talk to the parents. It wasn't until we brought about 50 Black folks into that school and demanded that either you talk to us now or you deal with us later. You make the choice. This is what we're dealing with. And I'm trying as much as I can, as best as I can, to help you to understand what Black people are dealing with in this city. And either you want us to deal with it or you don't. But these excuses that I'm hearing are just that. Excuses, the same kind of excuses that the enslavers made when they made the argument. But the enslaved Africans are our only natural resources. The same arguments that were being made by white folks when the schools were being integrated. Spitting on children. Spitting on children. And I had an opportunity to talk to someone who was involved in that. A man in his 80s. When he started talking about it, he started crying. He said, we went from a school where we were loved and supported to a school where everybody hated us. And I said to him, all of my kids go to private school. Many of them, there are a handful of Black kids at a private school. I said, are you telling me that my kids are going to say the same thing? He looked me straight in my eyes and he said, yes. My children are very successful. But you know what they've said to me? Dad, when we have kids, we will be sending our kids to the public school up the street. I just want you to be clear on what you're doing. Please don't think that my ploy is to try to convince you. I don't try to convince people, and I'm not calling y'all racist, but I've learned how to contend with people who don't like Black people and don't appreciate Black people. I've learned how to live with it. But I want you to understand very clearly and succinctly that this is what it looks like. And you don't have to care. Because some of you maybe, with LA, you don't even ever have to deal with a Black person if you don't want to. I wish we could say that. We can't say that. This is an opportunity to do what is right, morally, to do what is just. If 25 begins a process where we can have equity for API folks and for Black folks. The only reason that you can come up with is city council don't want to do it. If we were in the 1900s, city council didn't want Black people. Didn't want our involvement in this city at all. What make you think that we're so far away from that today? We see the actions of Donald Trump and his administration. What makes you think that that we're so far removed from that? We are not. Some of the very people that were supporting violent, draconian policies against Black people have now reached their highest level of success in this country. I ask the question again. I ask you to search your heart. Are you good with the way Black people are being treated in this city? Are you good with that? There were people who showed up here today to quote unquote call me out. I like being called out because I just tell the truth. Black people. Why? Because I would dare support and fight and resist ICE. Because I'm not accepting, I know about the racial violence that is visited upon Black people by Latino folks. But this is about humanity. This ain't about that. We can deal with that later. Because most of the time, the reason that that is happening is because somebody who is white then said there's not enough for everybody. The myth of scarcity. And so people turn on each other in order to get what they think they need. But at the end of the day, this is about humanity. And so no number of threats is going to ever stop me from fighting to stop ICE from doing what it's doing to not just Latino folks, but API folks too. Black immigrants as well. We know what they've done to white folks. We should be able to stick our chest out and be proud and say that we are recommending 25 because we want all people in this city to have a voice, and we are standing for equity. That's what we are doing. Can I see the note, Mona?
I pointed out to Ted.
Commissioner Field is not in order.
Just saying.
Commissioner Thomas, we have Commissioner Yap in the queue.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Commissioner Thomas, so I just wasn't sure if you were done before we go to Commissioner Yap.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Pointing out something that I know everyone in this commission knows. City council will, or what I almost said could reject all of the work that we're doing here anyway. So therefore, I would urge us to raise the issue, be bold, make the statement now that we know, not because this number is an arbitrary number, but we've been hearing from various communities. Now we were decided on 25. Put it to city council, who will, I'm not as optimistic as Commissioner Levine that they would raise it, but that let them justify why bring it down. If we don't do it in this moment, if we're not bold in this moment, I don't know that we ever will be. And we should raise up the voices that were being specifically kept out of the room in the corruption scandal that brought us here. Thanks.
Commissioners, commissioners, I'm going to call the question on the amendment before us. The amendment is to expand city council to 25. Commissioner Andrades.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
No.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Mack,
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa, no. Commissioner Murray is absent. Commissioner Sanchez,
No.
Commissioner Stein,
No.
Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Yap.
Yes.
1 second, everyone. Motion passes. All right,
You continue to be a rock star.
all right, I'm going to, the motion is amended. I do have to take another vote, City Attorney? The motion was amended. Do I have to take another vote? Yeah, item, final passage. Okay, can we proceed with the vote on final passage, which is on expansion of council to 25? All right, I will do, so everyone, the vote is on the motion as amended, which is to expand council to 25. Commissioner Andrades.
Yes.
Commissioner Field.
Yes.
Commissioner Fuentes.
Yes.
Commissioner Levine.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Mack.
Yes.
Commissioner Mesa votes yes. Commissioner Murray is absent. Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Yap.
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners. Motion passes. We now move on to item 1B, ranked choice voting. Commissioner Andrades, can you give us the report on ranked choice voting, please?
Yes, I'm happy to give a report on ranked choice voting. At the committee level, we supported ranked choice voting for a number of reasons. In part because ranked choice voting would allow us to eliminate the primary and have all candidates run in the general election, saving the city money in the long run. Which would mean that, so the primary voters in the election and general election voters are very different people. You have fewer people that turn out in the primary. It's typically hyper partisans that vote in the primary. So that's mean that if we moved it to the general and ranked choice voting would allow us to do that, we would see a broader swath of the overall voting body through ranked choice voting and elimination of the primary. This was upheld, I believe, at the ad hoc level in a single seat ranked choice voting system that would be tied, of course, to council expansion.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrades. Discussion. Well, actually, I will move a motion to approve ranked choice voting. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Fuentes. Discussion. Commissioner Sanchez.
I have mentioned before my work in low propensity voters, particularly Latino voters, encouraging them to become citizens, ultimately register to vote and get out to vote. I have doubts still on the information provided to us, and I understand and appreciate everybody coming forth to propose and advocate. However, comparing it to the cities that have implemented ranked choice voting, the complexity that we're going to see in the bubble confusion and voter confusion, particularly for underserved and ethnic minorities, continues to be a huge problem for me. And I don't think that ranked choice voting is the solution.
Members of the public, commissioners often vote in different ways on different issues, and you may be turning off commissioners who would vote otherwise on issues that you may care about. You may want to take that into consideration. And also, please, thank you. Discussion. Commissioner Levine.
Commissioner Andrades, the current proposal, just for clarity, would be single member ranked choice voting for council districts.
That is correct. We did not give any sentiments on citywide elections.
And is there a recommendation too that it would be a single election to be held in the corresponding to the general election?
Yes, the policy as brought to us by the advocates and research by staff would be a single ranked choice voting election in November tied to the general election only for council districts.
You see no further discussion, but I would like Commissioner Fuentes.
I'm sorry, I'm reading off my phone because my computer was on the Zoom for some weird reason. So Cal RCV has sent us like a lot of documents, but one of the documents they had sent us was about myth versus fact busting, specifically when it comes to turnout of non-English voters. So one of the myths that they busted is that even for New York, their first time using RCV in 2021, 90% of voters ranked 2 or more candidates on their ballot, with 95% of all voters saying they found the ballot easy to complete, regardless of age, race, education, language spoken, or income level. So I just wanted to offer that as just a stat to kind of dispel the myth that this would negatively impact any non-English voters in a city where this has been successfully implemented.
Commissioner Andrades.
Although I support ranked choice voting, I do want to point out that Commissioner Sanchez's sentiments are not without merit. California, we have to remember that the city's elections, ranked choice voting and city municipal elections will appear on the same ballot as elections from across the state. So one of the biggest concerns, and although it has been myth busted by advocates, other advocates have raised that you have your Board of Equalization where you get to choose multiple candidates. You have your governor where you get to choose a single, mayors where you would choose a single. So you're asking voters to perform many, many different things at once on the same ballot. And I do believe that ballot design and that an intentional ballot and a strong messaging campaign from the city could remedy this. But I do think that we should not discount Commissioner Sanchez's sentiments because they totally are valid, and academics are divided, even though I personally support ranked choice voting and think that our city can mitigate any issues.
Commissioner Mack.
Yeah, I think just adding on to Commissioner Andrade's comments, and I think also just appreciative of Commissioner Sanchez, your comments as well. I also do work in the API space around turnout and just working with residents of LA County who are limited English proficient, and I have seen the barriers to voting just with the current system. Although I would say that I do see I see the opportunity for change and the potential that ranked choice voting can bring. I don't know if this is an amendment or if this is just a note that I want to share in terms of sentiment from what I'm hearing from fellow commissioners. But as we direct staff, if this motion on the table were to pass, if we can direct staff to include in the language something around how to make the implementation and outreach and education. I know Cal RCV gave us a timeline of and their recommendations of how implementation can look like, but I do want to note that intention and implementation a lot of times in practice do not equate. And so I'm just, if we can include some sort of language around proper outreach and education implementation around language access, but also ADA accessibility that's in compliance with voting election code that California and county currently does anyways with the current system. I don't know if that's an amendment. I know I'm saying a lot of things, but I think I'm just trying to get us to a better place where there's no inadvertent disadvantages to communities who might have historically been kept out of the ballot box.
Commissioner Yap.
Thank you. Just taking all of the conversation so far, I would just want to note that this would just put more pressure, as Commissioner Mack has just said, on support, hopefully from my fellow commissioners, on putting language access resources and prioritizing language access, please, into our charter reform work. I know that Commissioner Mack has taken on that, so we'll be talking about in a future meeting.
Commissioner Andrades.
Sorry, there's one thing that I forgot to mention in my initial report. At the committee level, we had asked staff to correspond with the county office of the registrar, and they did tell us that it would take, because the county is a proprietary election system, even if we were to support ranked choice voting as a body, they would not be able to implement until the 2032 election. So anything that we pass today would not be in use for about seven years.
Commissioner Levine.
I just wanted to say this is a issue that I've been struggling over because And maybe it's lack of imagination on my part, but I hear Commissioner Sanchez's concerns, and I hear them as valid. And I also, as someone who's worked on campaigns and run campaigns in the city of Los Angeles, maybe I'm just a little too attached to it, but I do want to note a difference between Los Angeles and New York, which Mr. Feinstein, we've talked about, which is that New York has partisan elections. And so one feature of New York ranked choice voting is that there is a function of a runoff, or there can be party runoff. And so a very big change from this election will be moving from a primary runoff system to a single election. And it's a single election when, so all I say, the reason I say it is because I want us to recognize that every decision we make has trade-offs. And so, yes, there would be advantages to moving to a single election from the perspective of barriers to fundraising, and it ameliorates some of the considerations about low propensity voters by ensuring that we are tying elections to the highest turnout cycle. But I also think there's value in, and I'm a PR guy, there's value in running this thing twice. there's value in running the play back. You get candidates making their case in the primary, you get candidates making their case in the general. It sharpens the debate, it sharpens contrasts, and I think that's really valuable for voters. And so I've been struggling with what we lose if we move to a ranked choice voting system. And I'd like to hear the rest of the discussion. I'm not sure how I'm voting on this one.
Commissioner Field.
Yes, and I do apologize. I want to be clear. Is the motion simply what it states here, ranked choice voting shall be used for all city municipal elections? Or is it including the fact that it would not happen until 2032 after the next census and independent redistricting? And also what Commissioner Mack mentioned, it's critical that there be voter education, public education, starting, whenever, soon. I mean, it takes many years for people to reconfigure their brain, especially if they've been voting a long time, about how to do this. And we have read that in some situations, in some cities, it is quite confusing to some of the electorate. So I guess I just want to be sure I know how much detail is in the motion.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Field. The motion is for ranked choice voting shall be used for all city municipal elections. So that's not only city council elections, but citywide office elections. I'm happy to entertain any amendments that people may want to put forward to alleviate concerns. Commissioner.
I go ahead, and I would like to, and I'm working off of what you said too, I'd like to amend this so that it's very clear the time frame and what we've already discussed about 2032. And I'd like there to be, I don't know if we can give a money amount, but there has to be a very serious commitment to the education process so that voters by